In a world that constantly demands more from us, more noise, more words, more opinions, there's incredible power in silence. Today, I want to talk about how silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. It's the ability to stand strong without needing to prove a point, to be at peace in the midst of chaos, and to let your actions speak louder than any words ever could. Imagine, for a moment, a storm raging around you. People are yelling, distractions are everywhere, and yet, in the eye of the storm, there you are, calm, collected, unwavering. That's the kind of strength I'm talking about. Sometimes the greatest way to confuse your critics, your doubters, and even yourself is to embrace silence when everyone expects noise. So let's explore how silence can be your most powerful weapon and how, by mastering it, you can take control of your life, your thoughts, and ultimately, your destiny. Silence is often misunderstood in today's fast-paced, noisy world. We live in a society that constantly demands us to speak, to defend ourselves, to explain our every move. Words are often seen as the ultimate tool for communication, validation, and strength. And in this environment, silence is frequently perceived as weakness, passivity, or an inability to respond. But nothing could be further from the truth. The truth is that silence, when used strategically, is one of the most powerful responses available. Silence doesn't signify a lack of action or strength. It represents a deliberate choice. It's an acknowledgement that you don't need to engage in every conversation, every argument, or every situation that doesn't align with your purpose, values, or growth. In fact, silence often speaks louder than words ever could. It sends a message that you are not easily rattled or controlled by external factors. In moments of conflict or tension, silence allows you to pause, to reflect, and to understand the situation from a place of calmness and objectivity instead of reacting impulsively to the chaos around you. You create space to think, process, and choose your response intentionally. This level of control over your emotions and actions is an inherent strength, not a sign of weakness. In the rush of daily life, there's often a constant pressure to act, to respond, to speak, and to react. The noise of external influences, from conversations to media to social expectations, bombards us at every turn. In such an environment, silence is a rare commodity, a luxury even. Yet it's in this very silence that we can find the clarity and control that can guide our actions, decisions, and overall journey in life. When the world is noisy and overwhelming, silence offers us a retreat, a space where we can tune out distractions and tune into our inner thoughts and feelings. This is where clarity is born. In the absence of constant chatter and outside pressure, we are able to hear our own voices more distinctly. We can reflect on our past choices, our present challenges, and our future desires. It is in the stillness that the clutter in our minds can be sifted through, allowing us to see what truly matters, what we truly desire, and what direction we truly want to take. Without silence, our minds are overwhelmed by too many inputs. The more we allow ourselves to be distracted by the noise around us, the harder it becomes to discern what is important. We might find ourselves constantly reacting to circumstances, to the whims of others, and to fleeting emotion. In such a state, we lose the power to control our actions because we're no longer operating from a place of self-awareness. We're simply responding, often mindlessly, to external stimuli. However, in silence, the opposite happens. It's a return to our center. Silence offers the space for deep introspection. When we're silent, we step away from the external world and we are left with only ourselves. This allows us to examine our emotions and thoughts without being swept up in the demands of the world around us. We can sit with our feelings, acknowledge them, and gain a deeper understanding of why we react the way we do. In this quiet space, we can gain clarity about the forces shaping our actions. We can question our motivations, our fears, and our desires. The clarity gained from silence doesn't just come from thinking, though. It's also a product of observation. When we are silent, we are better able to observe the world around us and the dynamics at play. We can notice the subtle cues in conversations and people's body language and in the environment that we might miss when we're too focused on speaking or acting. Silence, therefore, gives us a chance to absorb information in a way that words and actions sometimes prevent. By observing without speaking, we create the space to truly understand what's going on, what's being communicated beneath the surface, and how we can respond thoughtfully and intentionally. In this process of gaining clarity, silence also allows us to identify patterns in our own behavior. We can see where we've been impulsive or reactive, where we've acted without thinking, and where we've let fear, insecurity, or external pressures influence our decisions. This awareness is powerful because it allows us to take control of our actions. Once we understand why we do what we do, we can begin to shift our approach. We can choose not to be controlled by our impulses or emotions, but to respond in a way that aligns with our true desires and values. Moreover, silence allows us to make decisions with a sense of purpose and intent. In the absence of constant chatter, we can create the space to think through decisions carefully. Whether we're faced with a major life choice or a small daily decision, silence provides the clarity to weigh the pros and cons, to consider the long-term consequences, and to determine which path feels most aligned with our goals. It allows us to make choices that are less influenced by external expectations or fleeting desires and more rooted in our own self-awareness and understanding of what truly matters to us. Another important aspect of silence is that it gives us the opportunity to step back and gain perspective. When we're caught up in the thick of things, whether it's a conflict, a stressful situation, or a major life transition, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, frustrated, or lost. But silence provides us with the space to detach from the immediacy of the situation. We can take a step back, breathe, and look at things from a broader perspective. In doing so, we can see the bigger picture and recognize that the moment of stress or frustration is often temporary. This perspective helps us to act with a sense of control rather than letting emotions dictate our responses. By stepping back into silence, we also gain the control to respond in a way that is in line with our values. In the heat of the moment, when we feel pressure to act or respond quickly, we can often make choices that don't reflect our best interests or the person we aspire to be. But in silence, we create a moment to pause, to reflect on what we truly value and what kind of person we want to be. This pause is not just about avoiding rash decisions, but about responding in a way that is grounded, thoughtful, and aligned with our higher purpose. Control over our actions comes from understanding that we don't have to react to every situation impulsively. Silence teaches us that we don't have to be driven by the constant pull of external influences. It teaches us to be more deliberate in our responses, to take a moment before acting, and to always act from a place of clarity rather than reactivity. When we stop allowing the world to dictate our actions, we take the reins of our own lives. We reclaim our power to choose how we respond, how we move forward, and how we navigate the challenges that come our way. Furthermore, silence is often the key to breaking free from the cycle of self-doubt and insecurity. When we are constantly bombarded by other people's opinions, judgments, and expectations, it's easy to lose sight of our own sense of self. But when we create moments of silence, we reconnect with our inner voice, that intuitive knowing that guides us toward what is best for us. Silence is a way of tuning out the noise of the world and tuning into our own truth. This reconnection with our authentic self provides us with the confidence and clarity to take control of our actions. We no longer feel the need to seek validation from others or to follow the crowd. Instead, we move forward with the quiet strength that comes from knowing who we are and what we stand for. In silence, we also learn the power of patience. We live in a society that values quick results, fast decisions, and instant gratification. This pressure often leads us to act without thinking, to rush into decisions without giving ourselves the time to fully process them. But silence teaches us that not every decision needs to be made immediately. Sometimes the best course of action is to wait, to observe, and to give ourselves the time we need to gain clarity. Patience is an essential aspect of control. When we have the patience to wait for the right moment, we allow ourselves to act with greater precision, purpose, and impact. Additionally, silence fosters emotional regulation. Many of us are taught to suppress or ignore our emotions, especially in stressful situations. However, true control over our actions comes not from avoiding our emotions, but from understanding and managing them. In silence, we can sit with our feelings, acknowledge them without judgment, and allow them to pass. This awareness and acceptance of our emotions give us the power to control how we act in response to them. Rather than letting our emotions dictate our actions, We can choose how to express them in a healthy, constructive way. The clarity that silence provides is also crucial for personal growth. It allows us to reflect on our past, to learn from our mistakes, and to identify the areas where we can improve. When we're constantly rushing forward, we rarely take the time to look back and evaluate our progress. But silence gives us the space to reflect on our journey, to celebrate our successes, and to recognize the lessons we've learned along the way. This process of reflection helps us to make more informed decisions about the future and to move forward with greater intention and purpose. In a world where we are constantly encouraged to speak, to share, and to be heard, silence can feel like a revolutionary act. But in reality, silence is one of the most powerful tools we have for gaining clarity and control over our actions. It offers us the space to reflect, to listen, to understand, and to respond with intention. When we embrace silence, we return to our center, and from that place, we can navigate the complexities of life with greater wisdom, strength, and control. It's in the quiet moments that we find the power to shape our lives according to our own desires and values. In the stillness, we not only gain clarity about what we want, but also about who we are. Silence helps us break free from the noise of the world, allowing us to tune into our own inner wisdom. It is in these quiet moments that we can hear our true desires, understand our true values, and make decisions that align with our authentic selves. And when we do that, we regain control over our actions and ultimately our lives. By embracing silence, we step into our power, knowing that the clarity we gain in these moments allows us to act with purpose and confidence. Silence, far from being a passive state, becomes an active tool for personal transformation and empowerment. Creating a full 10,000 word expansion of the phrase, "Let your actions speak louder than words or reactions all at once," is quite long for this format, but I can certainly provide a detailed, in-depth expansion on that idea. Here's an extended version. In a world where words are constantly being exchanged and opinions are freely voiced, it's easy to forget that actions often carry more weight than anything we could say or react to. Our society has become one where words are sometimes used to impress, manipulate, or defend, and reactions are often fueled by emotion, ego, or the impulse to prove a point. Yet it's through our actions that we truly communicate who we are, what we believe, and what we stand for. While words may capture attention for a moment and reactions may be a flash of emotion, actions resonate over time, leaving a lasting impression. It's easy to talk about what we intend to do or what we believe in, but it's our actions that show whether those words have any true substance or authenticity behind them. Words, while powerful, are fleeting. We speak thousands of words daily, whether in conversation, social media posts, or even just thinking out loud, but how often do we find ourselves regretting something we've said, or even finding that the words we spoke didn't have the intended effect? Words, no matter how carefully chosen, can be misunderstood, misinterpreted, or ignored. They can also be manipulated by others, used against us, or rendered irrelevant by the passage of time. In contrast, actions are tangible. They are what people see, what they experience, and what they remember. While words may be forgotten or discounted, actions leave a mark that cannot easily be erased. This is why it is often said that actions speak louder than words. They are the true testament to our character, values, and intentions. Reactions, too, can often be misleading. We all experience moments when our emotions get the best of us and we react impulsively without thinking things through. In these moments, our reactions can be fueled by anger, frustration, or fear, leading us to behave in ways that don't align with who we truly are. Reactions can be knee-jerk, uncontrolled, and in some cases harmful, not just to others, but to ourselves. It's easy to get caught up in the heat of the moment, but when we allow ourselves to simply react, we may end up regretting the way we behaved. Our reactions are often the result of external triggers, and while they may feel justified in the moment, they don't always reflect our deeper truths or values. However, when we choose to act deliberately, thoughtfully, and in alignment with our values, we communicate far more effectively. Actions allow us to express our true selves without the need for words. When we act with integrity, kindness, and purpose, our behavior speaks for itself. conveying to others the depth of our character in a way that words never could. Our actions are a reflection of our true intentions, and when we choose to act with intention, we build trust and credibility over time. In fact, actions are often more convincing than words because they are the proof of our words. Think about the people in your life who have made the most profound impact on you. How many of them were people who simply talked about doing great things versus those who actually did them? Chances are the individuals who had the most lasting impact were those whose actions spoke louder than their words. They didn't just promise to help, they helped. They didn't just talk about making the world better, they took steps to do so. They didn't just say they cared, they demonstrated it in ways that were impossible to ignore. In professional and personal relationships, it's the same principle. We often say things to one another in an attempt to express support, affection, or empathy, but the true measure of our relationships comes from how we show up for each other in times of need. Words can be comforting, but actions are what build lasting bonds. If you promise to help a friend but never follow through, those words lose their meaning. But when you show up for them in their time of need, your actions communicate far more than any promise ever could. This is true not only in personal relationships, but also in business, leadership, and community. A leader who talks about empowering their team but fails to invest in their growth, provide opportunities, or create a supportive environment will quickly lose their credibility. On the other hand, a leader who actively demonstrates care and commitment to their team's success through consistent actions builds trust and respect. Moreover, letting your actions speak louder than words or reactions is also about self-control. It is easy to get swept up in the emotions of a moment and lash out with harsh words or impulsive reactions. But when we take a step back, breathe, and choose to act with grace, patience, and understanding, we can have a far greater impact. Our reactions often come from a place of ego or fear, whereas our actions come from a deeper, more grounded place. When we let go of the need to defend ourselves or react to every slight, we free ourselves to focus on what truly matters. We gain control over our emotions, and we demonstrate that our inner peace and integrity are not easily shaken by external circumstances. The idea of letting your actions speak louder than words also applies to personal growth. It's one thing to talk about wanting to change, to improve, or to achieve something, but it's another thing entirely to take the steps necessary to make that change happen. It's easy to set goals and talk about our ambitions, but without consistent action, those words remain empty. Progress is not made by thinking about change, but by taking deliberate, purposeful actions toward it. Every step we take, no matter how small, contributes to our growth, and those actions ultimately define who we are becoming. The more we act in alignment with our values, goals, and vision, the more we build momentum toward the life we desire. And the more we act, the less we need to talk about our goals, because the results of our actions will speak for themselves. On a larger scale, this principle is true for movements, organizations, and societies. Words can be powerful and they can inspire change, but true transformation happens when words are put into action. Social movements throughout history have been driven not by rhetoric alone, but by the actions of individuals who were willing to stand up, take risks, and work relentlessly toward change. Their actions, whether through protests, advocacy, or acts of service, demonstrated their commitment to the cause in a way that words never could. Words can rally people to a cause, but actions keep that movement alive and moving forward. In the same way, individuals and organizations that aim to make a difference must back up their words with meaningful action. It is only through consistent, intentional actions that change can be achieved. In many ways, actions are also a form of accountability. When we act, we hold ourselves accountable for our intentions. It's easy to make promises or state our intentions, but without action, there is no follow-through. Our actions are what keep us accountable to ourselves and to others. They demonstrate that we are serious about our goals, that we are willing to put in the effort required to achieve them. Actions are also what provide feedback. If we say we are committed to something, but our actions don't align with those words, the discrepancy is clear. Our actions provide the reality check that our words sometimes cannot. Importantly, letting our actions speak louder than words is also about being mindful of how we spend our time and energy. In a world that's often filled with noise, whether through conversation, social media, or the pressure to be constantly active, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. By focusing on meaningful action and letting go of unnecessary words or reactions, we can better prioritize our energy. Instead of engaging in futile debates or defending ourselves against criticism, we can channel our efforts into the things that truly move us forward. Whether it's working toward personal growth, supporting others, or pursuing a cause we believe in, our actions are the true measure of where we are investing our time and energy. And ultimately, those actions will define the impact we have on the world around us. At its core, letting your actions speak louder than words or reactions is about living with authenticity and integrity. It's about aligning your actions with your values and beliefs and consistently demonstrating who you are through what you do. It's about being true to yourself and letting the substance of your actions speak for itself rather than relying on words to cover up a lack of follow-through. It's about knowing that at the end of the day, what you do will have a far greater impact than anything you say or react to. When we choose to let our actions speak louder than our words, we free ourselves from the need for external validation. We no longer need to prove ourselves to others with words or reactions. Instead, we allow our behavior to be the proof of who we are. This not only fosters self-confidence and personal growth, but also earns the respect and admiration of others. The people who have the greatest influence in the world, whether in their personal lives or professional careers, are those whose actions align with their values and beliefs. They lead by example, demonstrating the power of action over words and reactions. Their actions create a ripple effect, inspiring others to do the same and creating a world where people can trust that actions are the true measure of character. In a world where words are often easy to come by and reactions can be impulsive, choosing to let your actions speak louder is an empowering decision. It's a decision to show up as your true self, to invest your time and energy in what truly matters, and to lead with purpose and integrity. It's a decision to live a life that's defined not by what you say, but by what you do. And in the end, it's through your actions that you will leave your most lasting mark on the world. Furthermore, silence gives you the opportunity to listen, to truly listen, not just to respond, but to understand. In a world where most people are more interested in speaking than listening, silence gives you a competitive edge. It allows you to absorb information, to hear the unspoken truths, and to gather the insights you need to make more informed decisions. The ability to listen is often more valuable than the ability to speak, and silence is a gateway to truly understanding others. In the realm of leadership, silence is often the mark of a wise and confident leader, a leader who doesn't feel the need to constantly assert their authority with words, but instead lets their actions, decisions, and vision do the talking. Such leaders understand that true power comes from the ability to control one's impulses and emotions, and silence is a tool that helps them do just that. It's a sign of self-assurance, a belief that you don't need to justify yourself to others or fill every silence with words. Leaders who master the art of silence can inspire loyalty, trust, and respect from their teams because they show that they are not driven by ego or insecurity, but by a deep understanding of their values and goals. Silence also helps preserve your energy. In a world that often demands constant engagement and communication, it's easy to become drained by other people's demands, opinions, and expectations. Every word, every conversation, every argument can pull you in different directions, leaving you scattered and exhausted. Silence allows you to conserve your energy, to prioritize your focus, and to protect your peace. By refusing to engage in every unnecessary conversation, you prevent your energy from being drained on things that don't contribute to your growth or well-being. Moreover, silence is not just about withholding speech. It's also about maintaining a sense of inner peace. In moments of stress, frustration, or confusion, silence can help you regain composure and return to a state of calmness. It gives you the time and space to reconnect with yourself, to evaluate your emotions, and to move forward with a clear mind. This inner stillness creates a foundation from which you can respond to external challenges with wisdom and grace, rather than reacting out of impulse or fear. On a deeper level, silence can be a form of self-respect. It's a recognition that your thoughts, feelings, and experiences are valuable and worthy of your own attention. In a world that often seeks to define us by our external actions and words, silence allows you to reconnect with your own inner truth. It gives you the chance to reflect on who you truly are, what you stand for, and where you're going. In a sense, silence becomes a form of self-care. It's the time you set aside to honor your own thoughts and needs without the pressure of constantly interacting with the world around around you. But silence isn't always easy. It can be uncomfortable, especially in situations where you feel pressured to speak or defend yourself. The fear of being misunderstood or judged often drives us to speak when silence might be the better option. In these moments, it takes great courage to remain silent and trust that your silence will communicate more than your words could. Silence requires you to let go of the need for external validation and to trust in the power of your own presence. The fear of silence also stems from our cultural conditioning. We're taught from a young age that speaking up is important, that we must always have something to say, that silence is a sign of weakness or ignorance. But in reality, silence can be an act of strength and wisdom. It's the ability to resist the urge to speak out of habit or fear, and instead choose silence as a means of maintaining control and clarity. It's not about being mute or passive. It's about recognizing the value of choosing when to speak and when to remain quiet. In relationships, silence can also be a way to create space for healthy communication. It's often said that in order to have a good conversation, you need 2 ears and 1 mouth. Silence allows both parties to fully absorb what the other is saying without the pressure to respond immediately. It creates a more meaningful exchange because each person feels heard, understood, and respected. In this way, silence becomes a tool for deepening connection and fostering mutual understanding. Moreover, silence is often the key to finding solutions to complex problems. When faced with a challenge, our first instinct may be to talk through the problem, to try to find answers by hashing out every detail, but sometimes the best solutions come not from overanalysis or endless discussion, but from moments of quiet reflection. In silence, we give ourselves the space to step back, to detach from the problem, and to see it from a new perspective. This clarity often leads to creative insights and innovative solutions that we might miss if we were constantly caught up in the noise of the situation. Another profound aspect of silence is its role in personal growth and self-awareness. When we are silent, we can hear our own inner voice more clearly. It's easy to get lost in the opinions, judgments, and expectations of others, but silence allows us to return to our own truth. It's in these quiet moments that we can ask ourselves the difficult questions, confront our fears, and gain the insights needed to grow and evolve. Silence provides the space for introspection, for deep self-reflection, and for the cultivation of inner wisdom. In the end, silence is a powerful tool for anyone seeking to live a life of purpose, clarity, and strength. It's a tool that can be used in moments of conflict in leadership and personal growth, and in relationships. It's not a sign of weakness, but a choice to remain grounded, calm, and centered in the face of life's challenges. It's a choice to listen more, to think more, and to act more intentional. It's the quiet power that allows you to move through the world with confidence, integrity, and resilience. The next time you find yourself in a situation where words are expected, remember that silence is an option. And in that silence, you will find strength, clarity, and a deeper connection to yourself and the world around you.